7:01. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Doug White.
Here.
Mike Powers.
Here.
Tom Fuller.
Here.
Steve Haynes. Brad Bender here.
He's here now.
Steve is here? Okay. Well, we'll pause for a moment and give Steve a chance to be seated.
Both those in, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure this is
And here's Steve. So I will entertain a motion to set the agenda, and I have a few changes that have come to my attention. We will not be having a Rutland Regional Planning Commission report tonight. We need to approve the minutes of June 10th and June 17th. And Doug White has requested that we have an executive session to discuss the road foreman and set the salary. And under old business, I've been requested by the Rutland Regional Planning Commission to talk about the ARPA funds, which is recovery funds that are available, and we have until midnight tonight to apply for them, and we'll talk about that later. So, would somebody care to set the agenda as I've just discussed?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Okay. Motion by Powers, seconded by White, to set the agenda as just discussed. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Any opposed? Okay. Under commendations, I'd like to commend Dan Garceau, who donated more flags and installed them along Main Street and replaced damaged flags. So that looks very nice. There's a whole container right there. Okay, the next item of business then is to approve the minutes of June 10th and June 17th. Are there, well, first of all, we need a motion.
I'll make the motion and we sign both of them.
Okay, is there a second? Motion by Haynes, seconded by Fuller, to approve both sets of minutes. Is there any discussion, corrections, deletions, additions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of June 10th and June 17th, 2021, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Next is the report on Town Highway 7 discontinuance. So I have an order of discontinuance here. Do you want me to read the whole thing, or?
I don't think that we need to be just basically...
It's discontinuing Town Highway 7 based on the inspection of the select board that took place on Monday, and the lack of any comment from the public or the Department of Parks and Forestry. And it's Town Highway 7 between Green Hill Road and Lilly Hill Road. So I would entertain a motion to approve the order of discontinuance.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I'll second it.
Okay, I got that. Motion is made by Haynes, seconded by White. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, I will pass this paper around for you gentlemen to sign. And Doug, when you get a chance, please stop by the town office and sign this, okay?
Okay, I will.
And next,
I will do it tomorrow.
okay, thank you. Our grand list has been lodged and the treasurer has calculated a tax rate based on the approved budget from March, which results in a local tax rate of 0.5622 and a local agreement rate of 0.0019. Would somebody care to make a motion to set that tax rate?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried unanimously. Okay, next we need a motion to sign the Vermont Agency of Transportation grant for Bridge 26 on Lilly Hill Road.
I'll make a motion to sign that grant.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion is made by Fuller, seconded by Haynes. Any discussion? Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. And I will sign that. Okay, so that is our last bridge on Lilly Hill Road. I have a fleet permit for the A. Johnson Company out of Bristol, Vermont.
I'll make a motion that we approve the fleet permit for A. Johnson.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried unanimously.
Did you need that to read?
And
You want to read that one?
have you all read the job description that came to us from the the Planning Commission?
Do you want to read it? for the-
Sure, I can read it for the benefit of the audience and those attending virtually. So, Town Plan Coordinator. A member of the Planning Commission nominated at the annual organizational meeting and subsequently confirmed by the Select Board will provide a progress report to the Select Board. Reports will be provided based on Select Board direction, Planning Commission meetings, and implementation of tasks.
I make a motion that we do the town coordinator the way it's written.
Okay?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are you in favor, Doug? Doug, can you hear us? Doug White, can you hear us? I can't hear you. Well, motion is carried. Next on the agenda is to update the town purchasing policy. The town purchasing policy at this point requires purchase orders and services over $250 require a purchase order be submitted and then approved. Purchases and services between $250 and $20,000 require 3 written quotes and the approval of the road commissioner and/or select board members. Said quotes must be documented with date, vendor, and/or contractor and maintained in a purchase service log binder. So, $250 has been mentioned as being quite low. There's not too much one can purchase for $250 these days, and the things that you can probably doesn't make any difference if you have 3 quotes or not.
My question is, I mean, the purchase order part isn't the big deal, because that's calling in or getting a purchase order so that there's a log of the purchases. Because say there was 30 purchases of, $85, $100 or something, at least the town knows that the bills are coming. So I guess I don't understand why we would care about the purchase orders over $250, but my concern is the $250 to $20,000 requiring 3 written quotes. That's pretty much not a possibility.
Right.
So are we looking to, or I guess not knowing why it's up here, it's other than to update it, we're not looking to get rid of the purchase orders, are
No.
we?
No.
But we're just looking to get rid of,
To change that bottom number and maybe get some language in there because it's not always possible to get 3 quotes.
right, and that's my,
Well, I mean, in this day and age, you blow a hydraulic hose, that could be over $250, as you're saying. I mean, we shouldn't have to get 3 quotes if they need a hose.
Exactly.
so we gotta come up with a number, or do we
Yes.
come up with something that makes sense so that somebody else doesn't have to struggle with this later on?
Right. And particularly in the case of an unforeseen circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, like Mike said, I bet you a hydraulic pump is $2,500.
Right.
So, yeah, your options are the vendor that has one that day, so that you can actually
Right.
get up and running. So to call around and try to get 3 quotes on it. I mean, we don't have a lot of people purchasing. I mean, even in a case of that, it's not like that Larry or any Lori are gonna just call up and just decide to purchase a $2,500 pump without running it by us anyways.
Well, and if a computer goes down, you know, and you need an IT person here.
Well, there's just so many things, you know, a tire on a loader or something, I mean,
Yeah.
250, yeah, I think it's pretty low in this day and age.
Right.
Well, do we want to stick with the purchase orders over 250 and then just eliminate the 3 quotes? I mean, is there any problems that we see that could arise there?
Well,
Well, you know, if they need something and then we have to wait for approval or have a special meeting, that gets to be a kind of cumbersome.
I mean, the back page does say emergency service purchases
Can be approved.
approved, but I think, yeah, there's nothing wrong, I guess, with having a number in there on the written quotes that we could wiggle around, but
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see, I was gonna suggest like $1,200, but now you're saying maybe even $2,000.
well, I mean, a tire on a loader, that could be, what, Tom, 3,500?
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's many things that could be in that $3,000 to $5,000 range that are just some, almost everyday type things that the thing I don't see is the issue of the 3 quotes. I mean, we'll probably call around no matter what on a couple things. If it's a part for a piece of equipment, I mean, we're not gonna take the first thing. But
I think
I think making it mandatory, especially in some cases, is making more work for us than we have to. It's taking some of the common sense out of the, I mean, I can see that we gotta get the approval of the road commissioner and select board members and/or select board members, but I don't see the reason for the 3 quotes on there. Does that make sense?
I think the only thing that the 3 quotes needs to be would be for like a new purchase.
Yes, and
Like a truck or a loader or whatever, but I think to buy parts and getting 3 quotes is not the
Well,
answer.
even like when we bought the furnace, we were only able to get 2 quotes,
right.
so. So, I mean, I would be in favor of upping and, you know, why is it capped at $20,000?
Well,
Well, I
because
guess.
anything over 20,000, they have it in here, it's been for competitive bidding, which at a certain point, we should, try to solicit competitive bids on items at a certain dollar value.
I think we ought to do it around 1,000.
1,000?
Yeah, it was 250 before, I think 1,000 is common.
So you're thinking not require a purchase order until 1,000, Doug?
Yeah, I think around 1,000. Without getting their approval. Instead of 250, I don't think we ought to go up to 20,000 like you're talking, if I'm hearing right.
No, we had said 5,000,
Oh, 5,000, okay.
because some of these tires and whatnot are pretty expensive.
So we're talking about getting rid of the purchase orders up to 1,000, or we're gonna keep the purchase orders in?
No, we're gonna keep,
First order, how much?
we're gonna keep the purchase order, but we're just gonna not require approval of it.
Okay, so,
you won't need the written quote until we're gonna put a new,
Right.
okay, so what do we want, written quotes from 5,000 to 20,000?
Yeah.
Does that sound, what do you think, Doug? 5,000 to 20,000 should be written quotes?
I think think 5,000 is plenty, go up 20,000, I think we're pushing it too far.
Well, that's where we're going back to the written quotes, and it was already there. Right now, the policy says that we have to have written quotes from 250 to 20,000. We're just changing it 5,000 to 20,000.
Oh, okay.
So would somebody care to make a motion?
Well, I just want to make sure that we're covering this so we don't deal with it again next week.
And 3 written quotes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes?
So I'm not totally following the process, but what happens if, what's the process if some expense needs to be made that's $3,000?
Right now, a purchase order would have, well, right now, it's in the old policy, it says that they should get 3 quotes on it.
And so this is about quotes?
Well, we're talking if you go to get a hydraulic motor and that, for a pump for a truck or something, it's gonna be $3,000, and to get 3 quotes on that is almost impossible.
Okay, so this isn't about whether you guys approve it, this is about the process of getting those
Yes, exactly.
quotes. So you're saying anything up to 5,000, then they wouldn't have to go out and get a quote?
Exactly. They could get one price. If we felt that was a good number, we'd just go with it.
But you guys would still have the authority to make those decisions?
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Uh-huh.
So we probably should clarify that in the language that you don't have to have the written quote, but
Well,
where would, you know,
right now, we're gonna just change this to the purchase and services between 5,000 and 20,000
Yeah.
require the 3 quotes.
okay.
And I mean, after $5,000, I mean, it really wouldn't hurt to try to get 3
Yeah,
quotes. How about require that we at least reach out for 3 quotes? So that if we call Charlie Boyce, Fleet Pride, and Green Mountain Kenworth or something on something that's $8,000, they all may not give us written quotes on it, but we could at least make contact.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a good idea to have 3 quotes, not just one. One quote, you're gonna,
yeah, Doug, but now that's what we're talking about is at the 5,000 to 20,000 range. We're trying to say that anything up to 5,000, we're gonna go with up just 1 quote sometimes. Is that you're following us on that? Yeah, and I guess the only thing that I'm saying is, as long as we reach out to 3 companies, I know we can go to the case of the furnace that we got. We were only able to get 2?
One.
One quote.
We got 1 quote out of 6
Even though we reached
people.
out to 6 people, at least Steve documented that he reached out to 6 people. So that's the direction we're saying is as long as we make, the attempt, we can't sit around and wait for months for if we can't get the 3 quotes.
So rather than say require 3 quotes, should we say attempt?
Require the attempt of 3 quotes, huh? Require. Yeah, and I mean, if we require that we attempt the 3 quotes.
Require soliciting 3 quotes.
Require soliciting. There you go, that's a good word.
I knew there was a word that would fit.
Which is what Steve did, he solicited 6 people.
have 3 quotes.
Yeah.
Roughly 5, we write 3 quotes. Every piece of equipment, 3 quotes.
Well, when we get to equipment,
Yeah,
that's gonna
way
require
over
competitive
20,000.
bidding. we're not gonna change the competitive bidding. At 20,000 and up, Doug, we'll competitively bid it. Are you still on with that?
I guess.
Well, no, if you want a different number, let us know what your thoughts are.
Okay, so under purchase orders and written quotes, I have changed $250 to $5,000. And under written quotes, after the word require, I have inserted soliciting.
Okay, wait, I thought under purchase orders, we're staying at 250, we're not?
We are.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because that's just getting a purchase order and it
Right.
would help the treasurer
Right,
be able to
absolutely.
keep track of.
Yeah,
It's just tracking.
Yeah, that's just.
okay, so the only thing we're changing then is under written quotes.
Yes.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to update the purchasing policy under written quotes to change the figure from $250 to $5,000 and insert the word soliciting after the word require. Require soliciting 3 written quotes.
I make the motion that we go with the new purchasing order as Brad said.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? If there's no other discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Doug? Doug? Can you hear us, Doug? Okay, the next item on the agenda is the sheriff contract. Doug, are you there? Did you agree with the purchasing policy change?
I'm in and out, so I can't hear too much, so.
Did you agree with changing the purchasing policy?
I guess.
Thank you. Okay, so the next item is the sheriff contract, and we've been asked to review the attached contract, which says that the fee for services is $46.20 per hour. The department shall provide deputies with workers' compensation, false arrest, and general liability insurance. They will furnish an equipped and certified deputy sheriff and equipped police vehicle for this purpose of satisfying general law enforcement needs within the town. The service shall include motor vehicle enforcement efforts and response to all calls for law enforcement service during those times when a deputy is on duty in town. Additional services may include, but are not limited to, community policing activities, educational prevention programs, and participation in town-sponsored sanctioned activities and programs. During the scheduled patrols, the deputies will be responsible for criminal investigations, along with an emphasis on motor vehicle enforcement to include speed control via radar. The department will assist other agencies and emergencies occurring in proximity and will request assistance of other agencies and officers when necessary. They will schedule deputy patrols with consideration given to times of increased traffic volume, the law enforcement needs of the town, or input from the town. During this period of time, the patrol hours per week shall average 10 hours. The local number of patrol hours may not exceed 520 during the life of this agreement without prior written permission, or authorization rather. The town agrees to furnish the department with certified copies of all legal ordinances and Vermont laws. The department shall conduct traffic safety and engineering studies. They will furnish a bill to the town on a monthly basis. The select board chair shall serve as the administrator of this agreement, and the town will act as the liaison between the department on the town's behalf. The town agrees that any issues regarding personnel and/or policy of the department will be discussed with the Rutland County Sheriff and not the deputy on duty. Pursuant to Title 24 VSA, Section 219A, the sheriff of the department, as administrator of the contract, shall be entitled to compensation at the rate not to exceed 5% of the total contract value. This administrative fee does not increase the total cost of the agreement. Either party may cancel this agreement with 30 days written notice.
So that's a one-year contract.
1 year.
Now, the 10 hours per week you've got, Dave, is, but I guess the way you're maxing it out at 520.
Right.
Is there a reason that you maxed it at 520?
Well, I think if we did the 10 hours per week for the year, it comes up to 520 hours.
Right, but
That's what was requested when we did the initial contract, was 10 hours worth of patrol a week.
And I'm just asking questions here, but if we were looking for 15 hours a week under that same contract, that wouldn't work for you? So you're saying the max was just put in as a reason for...
Yeah, the max is based off the hours that were requested at the initial contract. And if you wanted to go to 15, I would just rewrite the contract, adding the additional 5 hours a weekend.
At the $46.20 per hour.
I think our biggest complaints we've had from residents is still our top thing is basically speed enforcement. And I know it's tough with 40s, actually 52 miles of road to cover all the areas, because where he isn't is where everybody's saying the speed's going on. When he's in that area, the area he's at, everybody's driving great. But when he's in the four corners, he's controlling up there, and we're complaining in the village. If he's in the village, they're complaining in the four corners.
I mean, even if you upped it to 15 hours, it's still only one person. That's
right.
So they can only be in one place. I mean, I did a snippet. I did 30 days from today back, 30 days, and that's 40 hours. So that's 1 month's worth of time, and basically it's about 20 shifts. And he stopped 20 vehicles and had 11 calls for service.
11 what?
11 calls for service. Sex offender registry checks, suspicious calls, different nature things like that, agency assists, had 2 thefts, I guess. So it's busy. I mean, there's stuff going on. It's other than, I know the traffic's a part of it, but you get a theft investigation, it could take 6 hours worth of time to try to track down who the person is or get statements and things like that.
How flexible are you right now if we were looking for more enforcement?
I could probably make it work. I'm sure you've seen the news, every law enforcement agency is tight on personnel. One new person that works for Mount Tabor. He's doing 30 hours a week, so I actually have an extra 10 hours from him that I could use in town, or 5, whatever, how much time we were looking for, to kind of backfill Justin that's down here.
Could we get that person just to do radar?
Well, obviously, he's gotta take calls if he,
Yeah.
yeah, if something comes up, an emergency's an emergency.
We haven't had
I-
a strictly radar contract since we worked in Rutland town about 10 years ago. Because if we're sitting out here on the street and there's a theft down at the corner,
You gotta
and
do
state
that.
police comes and we're sitting there and don't respond to it.
I understand that, but what seems to be a bone of contention is out of our 10 hours a week, your department is doing things that are really not requested by the town, but are mandated, I believe, by the state, such as checks on sex offenders, that type of thing. Why is the town having to pay for that?
Well, we, as a service for the towns, I mean, the state does require checks on sex offenders twice a year. We typically do them anyway in the towns that we covered, just because it's the thing to do to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and where they're at, where they're supposed to be. And don't have children living in the house if they're not supposed to have somebody there. I think it's kind of an important thing to make sure they're abiding by what conditions they're released on. But
Well, it is, but it doesn't seem like it's the responsibility of the town to enforce conditions that have been placed upon a person by, I guess, probation and parole.
Does the state fund you at all on any of that, or that you have to?
the state gives us what needs to be checked, because we're in the towns and that's what they give us. We do all the towns that we cover, all 14 of them.
But they don't give you any money for doing
No.
that? They just tell you, this is
Yeah,
your
this-
job?
This is your list of people and these are your towns and you.
Well, I mean, if, you know, that's not a bone with you, then it's with the state we should be talking
Yeah, and I
about.
don't
Because,
know how
I mean, we appreciate the fact that you guys are doing your job, but, we're paying for what the state we think should fund us for on that.
I don't know how many Danby has. I don't think it's maybe 1 or 2. So honestly, it's probably.
I'm just throwing that out as an example. I'm sure there are other things that you also follow up on that, you know, we're not really asking you to, but the state is asking you to.
No, the state doesn't, I mean, if we're on shift in the town and a call comes in for a theft, we go to the theft. It's just how it's law enforcement.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I don't have a
That is
problem with
something
that.
that, you know, a taxpayer in town would want a law enforcement officer to respond to that, so we respond. The sex offender registry checks, like I said, when I looked at the list, and don't quote me, I think there was maybe 2 on the list that were in this town, so that, you know.
So it's not a lot, and then-
We're talking maybe 20 minutes to stop and do a check on both.
And what about these, didn't you say something about like vehicle identification?
No, we have some agency assist, and that could be to an ambulance service that needed some lift assistance.
Okay.
Some type of issue getting in the house where they couldn't get in. We have no, I mean, we will do VIN inspections. Somebody from the town calls us to do a registration on a boat or a car or motorcycle or whatever, but that's also a service that we do in all the towns. Other than those, there's suspicious complaints.
I guess just to follow up on you may have 10 hours a week extra of the other officer. And so we could potentially, if we ask for more, have 2 on at a shift.
As of right now, I've got him for extra, or he's only, I fill his time with other things, but right now he's dedicated 30 hours for Mount Tabor. So there are 10 hours in his week that are not specifically called for. I mean, so if you were to get more hours, I could use him in town, so you'd see 2 different officers at different times. I would try to schedule him not when Justin was here, so maybe early morning or maybe later in the evening, something like that, to try to unless you didn't care if they were both there at the same time.
I think what Tom's trying to find out is if we can have them both at the same time, so that we've got one in the four corners and one down here.
I'm just saying it would give you the ability to overlap, not all the time, and I'm just bringing up, these are just talking points,
And if that's what you wanted, that's fine. A lot of towns don't like to see us overlap deputies when we're in their towns, but if you wanted an overlap, I'm sure we could create at least, a 4 or 5 hour overlap on the two in town, and put one down here in the center and one up at the corners. Or
Well, and the problem seems to be when the deputies are here is not the time of day when the speeding is taking place. And we've talked about this in the past, and we haven't been able to.
what do you think the
Come up.
biggest time of day is?
The two busiest times of day, this is a bedroom community. The two times of day are in the morning and 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the afternoon.
I mean, I see Justin around then. I don't know if I see him your new officer, I see him
Yeah.
at 6. I don't know if he's 5:30 or 6, he's down there,
yeah,
but
it's probably 6 because that's when our dispatch is starting in the mornings at 6, so
Yeah.
it would be before that.
Could you have somebody here before 6? Like on South Main Street?
Well,
Certain
6 would be the earliest because state won't dispatch for us. So we have to go through our own dispatch. They don't take anybody outside their own agency at this point, so
That's when the main problem is on South Main.
really commuters, yes.
Forgive me, but quarries, there's 2 quarries and there's people they go down and they go to Route 7 and they come and they just tear over that hill from the church.
Yeah, I mean, 6 o'clock, we can have them down at 6.
Well, by then it's calmed down, so.
I mean, unless anybody else has anything, I mean, I'll just soon make a motion that we do the contract as written for now.
Well, I played the firm today, and he picked up, I don't know how many, going way over the speed limit and wrote tickets. He was there just about 15 minutes, and I think you got 3 of them.
Well, and that's kind of the goal. And we were talking to him, trying to figure out if we could increase the amount of time. But I think what we're looking at today is just dealing with this, but it sounds like Dave's more than willing to write it for longer if we look for it. But I think that's another discussion that we need to have as a board.
I think we gotta hire him more than 10 hours a week.
I agree with you, Doug, but I think we should probably look our stuff over for budgets and stuff too, just to make sure we can come up with a reasonable number, and then we could bring Dave in or talk to him again.
Because he got quite a few of them today. I couldn't believe it when I was up there. They're doing a good job.
So we could,
Question, this is Annette Smith.
yes, Annette.
To get him, every 10 minutes he picks up somebody.
Did anything ever happen with the equipment that Paul Pierce was getting?
The sign, you mean?
Yeah, to tell people what their speed is?
Yes, that's been installed and has been active for a few months.
Oh, probably closer to
Does it gather data?
6 or 8.
I don't believe so.
Because in terms of time of day, I think the Regional Planning Commission used to put these strips down that you could monitor and find out
Right.
when vehicles were coming through and the traffic. I don't know if they probably still do that.
Well, that's a traffic study, right?
Right.
Well, the good news is, Annette, we're all aware of the times. As Tracy pointed out, she sees them.
She sees them, I see them, Kathy sees them.
I see
And,
them on my road too. There's a lot of speeders these days
and
too.
South Main Street is a real bone of contention, especially on Church Hill. It's a blind hill.
He got one of the trucks and cars today. In just a matter of 15, 20 minutes. So, up here we got a lot of speeders. I I don't know about down in the village. but-
We have
Yes.
way more than you do, and we have people walking along the road.
All right, so we're going off on tangents here. I guess back to, I was making a motion to sign the contract as written for,
Okay, so a motion by Fuller, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Fuller, seconded by Haynes to renew the contract for 1 year, and it does have the 30-day cancellation clause in it, and there is room to expand the time. So, any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So now we need to have an executive session. And I guess since there's more audience than there is of us, we should go next door, and Doug will call you. What number would you like to be called on?
558-1413, because I'm over in Fulton way right now.
1413. Okay, we'll call you in just a minute. I need a motion to go into executive session.
This one, if you all want to sign that contract, I can sign it and you make a copy.
I can.
You can have it and we'll be done with it. At least we won't be tracking back and forth with it.
Doug has to sign it though, doesn't he?
Oh,
It looks like there's only a space for 3 signatures. While this is being signed, can I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for the road foreman position.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded by Fuller and Powers to go into executive session.
how are you?
Good, how you doing?
And all those in favor?
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Doug, are you in favor? Okay. Okay, we have left executive session and we are returning to the meeting at 10 minutes after 8. And we will move on to the next item of business on the agenda, which is to discuss the transfer station.
So, I talked with Mark Oddie about leasing the transfer station, and at, I believe their last meeting, they discussed it as a board, and they are currently not interested in leasing us the transfer station.
So, do you want to have a larger discussion about the transfer station or schedule that for another meeting?
I'm good with putting it down the road if that was where they are at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'll go down the road on it.
Okay. Okay, I have some old business here. Where did that go? Okay, we have a State of Vermont Standard Grant Agreement for Town Highway Structures Program that needs to be signed. Have you seen this, Tom?
Which one is it? Grant award detail, that was the one we signed. That's the one we just signed.
Oh, okay, so then that's, oh, I know. Sorry about that. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Sorry about that. The ARPA funds. If we wish to apply for that, midnight tonight is the deadline.
ARPA?
Yes, this is basically money that can come to towns to compensate them for losses that were associated with COVID. Plan to discuss coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund. And I was not inclined to do this because I wasn't aware that we suffered any significant losses. But based on a phone call yesterday from Rutland Regional Planning Commission, they said that they have not actually come up with
The criteria.
the criteria, and it could be used for a number of different things when this is finally decided, including infrastructure. So they are suggesting that we pass a motion that says, I move that the town of Danby accept its allocation of coronavirus local fiscal recovery funding from the U.S. Treasury, along with the awarded terms and conditions and assurances of compliance with the civil rights requirements that are requirements of accepting these funds. I move that we appoint blank to serve as the town, village, or city's authorized representative as required, and that we name a contact person.
Now, how much money are they talking?
He said it was $200 and I believe $40,000
Per town or the total?
That was the quote that he gave me for Danby.
And I guess the stipulations that they kind of gave one or two words of, but in compliance with just what they said, or they've got a whole list of other things that come with that?
Oh, I'm sure there's a whole list of other things. And even
Well, I
if
would love the $240,000, but I'd really like to know what.
right. And even if we apply for it and we get it, it doesn't necessarily have to be used, he said.
So if they give it to us and they slap too many conditions on it, we can say no.
Nothing.
Yeah, I guess that would be the case. Then
I guess as long as we're not locked into something that we're unaware of.
Doug, are you back with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Then, I mean, I guess I don't see any reason we don't apply for them.
Okay. So, I would entertain then a motion to do so and to name a contact person.
You want to be the contact? No?
Not really.
Steve?
Everybody else has a hard time getting a hold of me.
Doug?
Do you want to be the contact person, Doug?
You never know where the frick I'm gonna be.
Well, they'll send you an email.
No?
Mike?
They'll try it.
Okay. Mike said he'll
Mike
do
will
it.
take it. Okay. So I will entertain a motion to move that the town of Danby accept its allocation of coronavirus local fiscal recovery funding from the U.S. Treasury, along with the award terms and conditions and assurances of compliance with the civil rights requirements that are requirements of accepting these funds, and name Michael Powers as the contact person.
I make the motion that we make Mike the contact person, and we'll take his guidance if he feels there's any issues with that we wouldn't like. So we're accepting it with a caveat.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Any more discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, motion is carried unanimously. Is there any other old business? Is there any new business?
I'd like to make a motion, we go back to in-person meetings now that the state of Vermont has said it's acceptable again.
I'll second that.
Can I ask a question?
Yes?
This is Annette Smith. Does this mean that you're planning to eliminate the video option?
Yes.
PEG TV will still be there.
That's after the fact, so you're saying that if you accept this motion, that you're no longer going to allow remote access?
Yes, most towns have, or quite a few towns have changed now, back to just,
Is there a problem with keeping this system?
we do have to bring a fifth person or sixth person in to manage it, and it is, you know, it's more work than really.
You know, there's still a lot of concern about being in the room with people, and I know a lot of people who don't want to do it, and it's just, I'd really appreciate it if you keep this video going for a while. I'm involved in a fair amount of state meetings, and although I know that the governor has said to meet in person, I haven't seen a single one of them doing it. They're all still doing it remotely.
If they don't keep this going, they ain't gonna have me because of this Delta virus. I'm not gonna go down there and sit. I didn't get 6 years old being a friggin' dummy. So, if they don't keep it going, they ain't gonna have me at the meeting. That's the way I feel about it. You guys can go down there and sit there if you want. With this Delta virus, this is no thing to fool around with.
Well, Doug, you could phone in still.
Could others of us phone in?
I guess.
This is a good way to have this meeting the way we've been doing it. Because other people can come in and voice their opinion.
Are you volunteering somebody to run the go-to meeting site for us?
Yeah, this go-to meeting, the way we should keep it going, because this is something that the whole town of Danby can get involved with. Now, it shouldn't be just up to us goddamn 5 select board to make all this damn decisions. It should be up to the whole town to voice their opinion.
Well, Doug,
And
for
they
the
have that
past
right.
200 years though, we haven't had to go to
260.
meeting. It's just been since COVID.
But this 200 years ago, they didn't have this goddamn go-to meeting. This is not 200 years ago, this is today.
If the issue is you need somebody to set up to go to meeting, I can do that. I mean,
You gotta come maintain it, Annette.
beg your pardon?
You have to come here, be here and maintain it.
That's what I don't want to do. I'm sorry, I've hardly been anywhere where there are people for 2 years. And I don't feel safe going into a room with people.
Me neither. Me neither.
This is Lynn. I don't think you need to be in the room to be the administrator of the go-to. I think the next to administer that afar, you will just need to have a computer.
You can just log into it like all of us are logging into it.
That's right. I mean, you guys can go ahead, go into the meetings you want with no mask and all that bullshit, but I'm not gonna. Because you're not gonna see me down there until all this virus is gone. This goddamn Delta virus ain't nothing to fool around with. I didn't get to be 76 years old being a friggin' dummy. You guys can do what you wanna do, but I'm not gonna be there. And I think if you can't have this go-to meeting, then tough shit.
If you need help, I'm volunteering to be of assistance. I would ask you, in any case, to please keep the go-to-meeting going until it feels safe.
I agree here 100%. I think we should keep it going until this goddamn virus is gone.
Okay, we'll call the question. Doug?
Yeah. What?
I'm calling the question. How do you vote? Yes or no?
On having this go to meeting? Yes.
No, the motion is to discontinue going to meeting.
No.
Mike?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Steve?
Why, Steve, don't asshole.
Steve?
We've only got 4 people on it right now.
That's right. Don't be an asshole.
Yes.
Yep. You goddamn bunch of assholes, all 3 of us.
Only because you
That's-
say I am, Doug.
That's out of order, Doug. Okay, the motion passes 4-1. There is another item of new business. The listers have been requested by the firm that is doing the reappraisal to have keys to this building. And I've talked with one other, in fact, I sent you all an email and I have only had one response to it, which was to not let them have access during non-business hours. So how do you all feel about that?
What the hell is wrong with it? They're not going to go into the town clerk's office, they're just going into what they gotta do on the computer. So what the hell are they gonna do? Wait, you're gonna pay somebody to wait there for them guys to come in and do all the stuff? Why not?
Why can't they do it?
Hey, there's 15, 20 bucks an hour. Why not? We've already blown everything out of the water. You goddamn guys are getting your own way and everything, the hell with you. Good night.
I guess I don't see any reason why they can't get in here. I'm not sure what's the concern.
I'm just asking.
Oh, okay, no, I mean, they're only gonna have access to this area, right?
Mm-hmm. So they have access to the front door in this area.
Something. Don't know what they gotta do on the computer. So what the hell's the big deal?
So you're in favor of it, Doug. Tom is in favor of it. How do you feel, Mike?
Fine with it.
Okay,
As long as they're just in this part, I'm fine with it.
okay. So there's no problem. We'll get them keys. Is there any other new business?
Yep, you probably won't see me on this thing again.
Well, Doug, you'll be able to call in.
Good night.
Good night, Doug. Is there any public comment?
I guess,
Would you state your name for the record?
sure. My name is Jim Salzgiver. I'm the treasurer of Northshire Rescue Squad. And this is Susan Howard.
Susan Howard, I'm the president of the Board of Trustees of the Rescue Squad.
Hi.
And we wanted to come introduce ourselves and kind of give you a real quick sort of, we've been in touch with, you appointed Janice Arnold as a member of our municipal board. And here.
Yeah, I'll hand this out.
Yeah, these are, you don't have to read it now, but it kind of lays out the numbers of the cost by town and all what we've, and some basics about the new agreement that we asked you guys to enter into. Back in 2017, we decided to put together an agreement with all the 5 towns that we serve. And so we had a way of, having everybody agree, what the support amounts that the rescue squad needs and how things work and all. And that agreement was a 3-year agreement, ran from 2017 to 2020. With the old pandemic and everything, we didn't quite get around to renewing it. We're trying to renew it, right now. We're looking at renewing into a new 3-year agreement. Basically, the first 2 years of the agreement, the costs are already known. You've already, communicated, and your existing budget actually covers the second year of that agreement. So what we're looking at trying to do is get this new agreement in place with all the towns, so we just, have the understanding in place once again. I'm probably not doing a great job of explaining that, but this stuff will give you a little better idea. To us, it's really important that we have a working relationship. We've got towns in Manchester, Dorset, Danby, Mount Tabor, and part of Winhall. And so, back in the old days when we put together the agreement, and in the first couple of years, we actually sat down together, went over, here's our budget, here are our numbers, here are our results last year, here's what we feel we need in the way of support, for the coming year, and we discuss it and work out. We had a relationship with our towns, was what we're really trying to accomplish, and that worked pretty well for us, because prior to that we just went to each town and talked to them individually about what was going on. Because the rescue squad, we have our budget at a rescue squad is about $1 million a year, and this year we'll bringing in medical revenues, so everything we bill out and collect from people is like $550,000. So that's because we run 2 crews almost all the time, and that's just what we think that the towns require, and that ends up costing us more than we can get in medical revenues. We fill the gap of almost equally from our fundraising and our towns, providing funding for us. So, I've given you the numbers here, and hopefully that gives you a little bit of an intro to what we're up to and what we're trying to get in place. And, happy to take questions. Happy if you guys want to read that stuff over and shoot us an email or whatever. Feel free to ask questions. It's meant to be a good two-way relationship.
And your email is on the bottom there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm the treasurer, so I'm kind of the geek, that plays with the numbers and stuff, so I can, Susan's always available. I live in Dorset. Susan lives in Mount Tabor. We have a member of the board who's from Danby as well. So we've tried to, have all our towns sort of represented.
Good.
And in a quick nutshell, the percentage each town pays is based on call volume, historical call volume.
Nice.
So that first time when Jim created this municipal board committee, everybody felt that was very equitable, and it's worked really well. Then of course we didn't renew it last year in person because of COVID, and then things got a little bit delayed, so it wasn't renewed within that year, but trying to get another 3-year in place.
But that's where we went out to all our towns, and even though the agreement was ending, we just went out to our towns and said, okay, let's pretend it still exists, and here's what the number would be next year. And everybody said fine and put it in their budgets, including you guys.
So I guess my question is on the Danby end for the fiscal 21-22.
Yep.
You've got dues, service fee, okay, for a total of 25,000.
Right.
And what did we have on our,
I think that's what you ended up in your budget, I believe.
okay.
I think I checked all the towns, and all the towns, put.
And that section passed, it always does. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, okay.
Well, when we went to this, back in the old days, some towns put it up every year for, its standalone vote. And when we put this agreement together, we asked all the towns to just put it in your budget. And so that's what they've done.
I think ours is still,
No.
oh,
It's in the,
Yeah.
yeah, because I remember when we did the budget, we had to call and get the
And I
number.
know Brad was, asking about, and I talked to Janice is our rep on the Muni board. And I've already given her an indication and passed it along to you and all that, for this year, the coming year, which will be the 22-23, and the last year of the 3-year new agreement, I the budget that I've shared with the board, and it looks like my recommendation to the board is a relatively small increase. So that anyway, you can, get some comfort that I think the board, we had a meeting just the other day, and I think the board is comfortable. I haven't given the specific recommendation, but it's a low single-digit increase.
So usually November is when we begin our budget work. Will you have a firm number for us at that
Well,
point?
the past couple of years, I've given the number in December. This time, I'm going to try to do it within the next month.
Oh, great.
Oh, it's, yeah, more than early enough.
Early.
Yeah.
Just so, because, one of the, already we've had, like Dorset and Mount Tabor said, fine, good, happy, go with the agreement and all. Manchester said, what is the number? And I don't want it to be, because we've had a couple of big increases in the past, in some years when we've needed it. One was when we had to, one big one, there were two big increases. One, our fundraising dried up one year, and we've really made a big effort. Susan's made a big effort to get that going. And last year were kind of our best fundraising year yet. And the other one was when we just realized we were starting to lose people because our pay rate was too low.
Yeah.
And we had to increase we created a new schedule and paid everybody better. And now that's stabilized, which, nowadays it is hard to get people.
Now, what do you foresee going forward as an annual percentage? And I'm not asking you to, predict the future, but I mean, you're going to have your equipment is going to need upgrading again sooner. Do you have that built into this for like each rescue squad has got a 5-year or?
Well, we buy a new ambulance every 3 years. We just took delivery of our newest one, so that is basically an amount each town helps chip in for the ambulance, and that amount's going to be flat for the next 3 years.
So your plan though is basically perpetual, that you've got it built in, so it's constantly turning them over and all your other equipment.
Yes, yeah.
And so that we're not gonna foresee a thing coming up in, say, 4 years from now that, hey, guess what? We really should have been turning over some squads and we've got a bunch of junk ones and we're now gonna have to go spend $1 million on new ones.
The ambulance is a big item, and the last one, the base price before discounts and all, it's like $250,000. But we do those, we have 3 ambulances and we replace every 3 years. We take a 9-year-old ambulance out of service. Tends to be like, 250,000 miles or something on the thing at that point. Take that out and bring in a new one. So that's.
And that service life cycle seems to be working good.
Yeah.
So that's pretty predictable. What's a little tougher is, if they change something on medical reimbursements or, again, we have to keep competitive on what we pay our people because some folks came in and looked at the squad, and their big complaint about us was our people had too high credentials because we've got a lot of paramedics and all. They said that makes it tougher, but where we are, we're far enough away from the hospitals.
Right, that you need as much credentials as you can at site.
So our policy is every crew includes one paramedic level person. So it costs us a little bit more, but it's been working. And
It's a matter of life.
Yeah. And I'll quickly note that we do have a goal of $200,000 a year in fundraising. We've upped that for our next budget year to $215,000. And $15,000 may not sound like a lot, but if it, exponentially isn't passed on to the towns, we feel that's important. And we did have a strong year last year. We had the highest number of subscribers to our subscription program since 6 or 7 years ago. And I have some brochures to leave with your town, and you might have seen the publicity so far on this. But this is our other source of fundraising for $110 a year. Everybody in your household is covered for rescue services, no matter how many times the calls are made for your household members.
So you're not going to be out of pocket.
You're not going to be out of pocket. And this is also a fundraiser for us. So we've had close to 900 people in our service area become subscribers, and we're convinced that that can be closer to 1,500 if we just keep working away at it.
Yeah,
We're working hard to try to keep the cost down.
Yeah, we really do.
For the town.
And we're here for transparency, and so our towns don't think that we just, rifle out an email and expect money. We don't work that way. That's not how the board works.
Did you
So-
run the numbers on the percentage of them you could sell before it starts costing you?
It's
On the
work.
ambulance?
On the free rides, basically. I mean,
Yes, yeah.
Well, what we do is you sign up for the subscription program. We still go to your insurance. If you have an insurance,
Yeah.
we still go to your insurance company now.
Yeah.
We just don't bill you for anything else.
deductible.
And right now, frankly, the program works out pretty well for the squad. I think if we went to, we do about 1,300 calls a year. And, it's those that subscribe, it could work against us, but I don't see that really, being a likely case.
I mean, this has been in place for almost 18 years. And it's
Quite a
worked,
while.
almost 18 years. It's worked really well.
It's definitely,
But I'll leave these here. If you have a place, I can bring a lucite holder if that will help you too.
Great.
So your light reading.
Well, thank you
what we
both for
bring
coming in, though. We appreciate it.
Thank
and we're hoping to, what we'd like to do is, get you guys all comfortable with the signing up to the new agreement. As I said, it's a 3-year agreement. The first 2 year, the numbers are all squared away. It's just the final one that shouldn't be a big increase. So we want to get it signed again to be in place. I feel like a dummy because, I'm the treasurer and I should have pushed it harder earlier, but I didn't.
No,
So-
last year was an unusual year for all of us, so.
You think?
Yes. But thank you for your time. Nice to see
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you for bearing with us. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no
we had-
problem. Well,
I'm on my select board.
he's on
too.
his select board. I used to be on the planning board. I know. I almost made a motion here, but I
Okay, is there any other public comment?
Yes, there is. I think you guys do 4, you're not very damn good about having this go through meeting. I think you made a big mistake, because I think the town people should have a right to come on, let's go through meeting and have your say. You guys don't think so, you guys just want to let it go your way, so you can do every goddamn thing you want to do. I think it's a big mistake.
Well, I would have voted against it, Doug, if you hadn't called me an asshole.
Okay, I think you've made your point. Is there any other public comment?
I'd like to thank Doug for supporting the public's right to attend meetings. I'd like to ask you to reconsider.
I think you should reconsider it, because the town people are the ones paying the frickin' taxes in this goddamn town, not this frickin' 5 select board.
Not like anybody's being not included. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 6 people in the audience and we had 4 people on go to meeting, so there's no reason you can't come.
Yes, there is.
You guys, they're gonna get thrown away no matter what the hell they say, so we might as well just forget it.
I will have to find another way to participate, but I won't be coming in person, and I think that this is a very unfair thing for you to do, and I take it personally. I get the feeling they don't want to enable people like me who have an interest in the town government to participate.
They don't, they just wanna have everything their frickin' way, you know that.
On
I
that
make
motion that we,
mistakes as a new board, but I'm appreciating
I'll second.
what you're putting into it, and I think that you're learning and doing a good job, and there are a lot of you that come before you that the public, I mean, tonight's a beautiful summer night. I understand why there isn't a lot of attendance, but I'm more interested now. You're asking even more people to come into the room in addition to the ones that are there. And
I have a lot of respect for Tom and Steve, but I don't know, I'm kinda losing both of that.
I'd like to say something. have immune system problems, and although we are much safer than we were before, and it's wonderful, it is still dangerous for some people to be in a room, because even vaccinated, we all can get that Delta variant. And it's definitely in our communities. There's a case in Rutland right now. So I would ask, that, you know, I don't think it, you know, Annette is offered to be the administrator. All you have to do is dial in, and it makes it possible for people to join remotely and makes it more inclusive. And so I would hope you might consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thanks.
Alright, mind up, where you're not gonna forget to change them.
Okay, do I hear any motions?
Motion of what?
To adjourn. I'll make it.
Sure.
I'll second it.
Motion to adjourn has been made by
Being recorded.
Haynes, seconded by Fuller. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.